It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. I have not reviewed a beer on the Perfect Draft for a long time. The reasons for that is I like to pick up my Perfect Draft kegs from a shop. When it comes to ordering online, sending kegs back, putting the stickers on the kegs to send them back, honestly can't be bothered with any of that, and that's the reason why you haven't seen a Perfect Draft keg for a long time, because the shop I was buying them for kind of settled down into some Camden beers, kind of Stella, Budweiser. They were selling what was popular, but I went in there the other day and they had this Theakston Old Peculier, the legend, 5.6% ABV, 6 litre keg. So I always have my old keg in the boot. It's been in the boot of my car for about 8 months. And that incidentally was the last keg we reviewed on the channel. That was a Franciscana Royal Weiss beer. So I exchanged the keg for £5 back. So this come in at, if you haven't got a keg, if you're buying this brand new on its own, it's £40. But with the keg return, it was £35. So here we go. I'm going to show you first and foremost how to fit the keg. So you take that top piece off. Then you have a beer line. What I like about the Perfect Draft is it comes with a fresh new beer line with each keg every single time. And that is a great way to manage this system because the line is brand new every single time. So what you do, you feed this rubber tube down through here, there we go, and then it simply clicks into position there. What you then do, put it on the top of the keg like so, and you push down. I generally do that with the palm of my hand. Grab your keg, slide it into your machine, making sure that the hose goes into the back, tap facing the front, obviously. Lock that down, shut your doors, and your trusty Perfect Draft machine that you haven't used for 9 months and you literally had to dust before this review switches on. It really is a trusty, great little machine, this. I had no doubt that it was going to work. It's just a trusty old machine, this. I've had it for a number of years now. They're great machines if you like decent beer, decent keg beer. So next thing is the temperature. So it's saying 9 degrees on the front here, gone down to 8. I'm pretty sure that's going to go all the way down to 4 degrees very quickly because I always store my kegs in the fridge. I always kind of cool them down in the fridge because the cooling systems on these machines, I don't want to overwork it. I don't want to kind of strenuate, is that a word? A cheap cooling system where I could just bang a keg in the fridge and get it down to fridge temperature, 4 degrees. The next thing is 30 days on the bottom. That's how long your keg lasts. That'll count down day by day. And then you've got the bar there, how much beer is actually in your keg. So without further ado, let's get pouring. So I'm using a nice, what's that, like a snifter style glass here. Straight down with a handle. And then stop. What you're doing, you're pulling beer all the way through that line. Now there's a continuous flow of beer all the way through to the front of the line. But the reason why I stopped was because that first shunt of beer, if you like, shooting through that line is going to create a great big head. It also gives you the opportunity to wet your glass, and it's giving you every single opportunity to pour a decent beer without a great big frothy head. Delicious. So here we go then. Well, in theory anyway. I have moved the keg from fridge to side, then I moved it onto the bar here to open the doors on the perfect draft, and I'm moving the keg around a little bit, so you're going to get a little bit, you're going to get a little bit of quite a large head on the beer, but that's okay, that's okay. Just tell yourself you're German or you're Czech. They always have great big heads on their beer. So we got a 3-finger, slightly off white head, good levels of carbonation on the beer. It's a deep, deep, deep coloured, almost jet black beer in the glass. Beautiful to look at. Look at the beer as I rock it back and forth. Look at that quality, the conditioning on the brew of that beer. Absolutely wonderful. Aroma then. Yeah, it's nice. That malty, rich, biscuity. Slightly nutty. I've had Theakston Old Peculier many times in the bottle, many times on cask. It's great on cask, but I don't think I've ever had it on keg. So here we go then, keg Old Peculier. Cheers everybody. That's a really decent glass of beer. Probably a little bit too cold, if I'm perfectly honest. Probably a little bit too cold. If I had myself a Perfect Draft Pro, I could have probably set this to about maybe 7 or 8 degrees. And I would have had the beer slightly warmer, just to experience more of that kind of rich malty flavour from the beer, but you still get aspects of it. There's still a biscuitiness coming through, a nuttiness. It's hoppy, there's a little bit of bitterness on the back end, sweetness to begin with, bitterness over here, lovely balance to the beer. It's a rich, creamy mouthfeel. A lovely, creamy mouthfeel. 5.6% ABV. You're going to get a kind of certain amount of creaminess, a certain amount of kind of richness from that kind of ABV. It's decent. It's a decent. I'm glad I bought the keg. As you can probably see, I'm wearing a jacket out here in the conservatory, and we're having a really cold kind of mid-September here in the UK. We woke up this morning, it was 5 degrees. So we're really hitting that territory now of kind of rich, warming beers to, you know, we're passing kind of lager season, I think, on the channel. For a while anyway. I'll never rule out a lager in the future. So that's it. That's Theakston Old Peculier. Lovely, rich, chocolatey taste. 5.6% ABV. Great looking beer. Look at that beer as I rock it round in the glass. Go and try it for yourself. You can either buy it from Beer Hawk, or it's called Perfect Draft these days, isn't it? Or you can do what I do and just wait for the keg to hit your local Perfect Draft supplier shop. I just like to swap the kegs out in the shop, nice and easy, no messing about. I'm not one for sending stuff, putting barcodes on the side, printing stuff out, sending it off. I can't be bothered with any of that. So if you ever wonder why I'm not so kind of quick these days with Perfect Draft kegs, it's because I just have a look every now and again, have a look in the shop that's near me, see if they got anything new in there. If they have, I'll buy one, but they haven't had anything new for 8 months. Rating: rich, toasty and malty, fantastic. A little bit of coffee, chocolate, caramel, roasty, toasty beer. I'm going to enjoy this keg on the weekend. I like that enough to give it a Stone the Crows 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box, subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews, give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom, cheers.